Or see, feminism wants to let you know, oh, the women in the past, they were so unhappy. They had no money. They had no jobs. They had no education. They had nothing. They had to listen to their husband. They had to put up with abuse and all kinds of stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've looked. I haven't seen any research that suggested that a majority of women in the 50s and 60s and back in the days where there were married families put together were getting abused. Where are they making these claims from? Because I don't see stats to prove this stuff. Christ says there's no other gods before me. This is why idol worship is forbidden in Christianity. This is why God said, You can't worship me and money. It's either me or the money. It's either me or fornication. He is singular about his relationship with you. And that's why it is a representation, Christ and his relationship with the church. Earthly representation of that is marriage. There's no one else but your husband and no one else but the wife. These are the mindsets that are destroying marriages in America all the time. Get rid of every option that you think that you have when it comes to marriage. You're inviting the spirit of fear in. You're allowing the fear of what may have happened to your grandmother or your mother or any other woman in your family or anything that the feminist movement likes to propagandize about, women being trapped in marriage and not having the ability to work or whatever, and their husbands being abusive. You're hearing that all your life in America as a woman. And so that is a spirit of fear that you're coming into agreement with, and you need to come out of agreement with that if that is something that you've heard and you start believing. Hi wives, hi future wives, how are you? I hope you all had a blessed Thanksgiving. I hope you all are doing well. God bless you. Thank you so much for coming to this channel. This ministry exists to empower Black women to have the right mindset for faith, wifehood, and proper imaging. Basically, the way we show up to the world. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Send this video to someone, to a sister you believe needs to hear this message and what this ministry has to offer. All of my links are below. The Free Wife Mindset e-guide. It is short, it is quick, and it is fruitful for you. The link is below. Join my mailing list so you never miss a video and miss what I have going on here. Also, check out my community page. I always have different posts and different things that I say on there. If I'm not posting a video, I'm also speaking on there, and there's discussions and comments happening over there. And email me. My email is below in the description box as well if you have something private that you want to talk about or just want to say, or send a video that you might want me to react to or anything like that. Marriages for Black women too. The ebook is also below. Black women used to be the most married female demographic in America. Now we are the least. What happened? How do we fix this? In Jesus' name, all of that is below. That link is there. And lastly, wife affirmations. That is also free. And so that's below. So I want to talk about this topic about options. I think a lot of people don't realize how privileged we are to live in a country, in a nation, in a time, in a place where women have so many options. We have so many things available at our command, at our feet. We can order whatever foods we like and it can show up to our door. We can order whatever outfit we want, whatever products we want. It can show up to our door in less than a day, in less than a week. We can surf the internet and find out so many opportunities for us. Sometimes we don't even have to get certifications to have certain experiences to get hired. Some people are opting, actually a lot of people are opting out of college and they are going to schools that are trade schools that are only 6 months to a year, or they're just learning everything on YouTube University and they're starting businesses and doing so many things. And so you have the freedom of choice in this country to do whatever it is that you want to do for the most part. And we don't understand how privileged that is because there are other nations, other people that do not have that. But when you have so much choice, sometimes it's hard to be committed. When you have too many options and you feel like you have more than one way out or safety net, it makes life a little bit more difficult. So on one hand, it's a privilege to have all of these options, but on the other hand, it actually can be at your detriment to have too many options. And I want to make this analogy because I've heard this before. When you go to a store or when you go to a restaurant and this restaurant has a menu of all kinds of different foods, all kinds of anything your heart desires. It has everything that you could want on this menu. It's too many options, actually. It takes longer a lot of times, and it's harder to make a solid choice on what you want. If you go down an aisle and you're trying to get toothpaste, there are so many different brands and options of toothpaste out there that sometimes if you didn't do research beforehand, if you haven't already made up your mind beforehand because you have experience with something or whatever the case may be, and you're just blindly walking into a store looking for toothpaste or deodorant or any kind of product, and you are presented with so many options, it's like you get stuck because you don't know what to do. You don't know what to try. You just don't know. You might be excited and you might say, oh, I want to try everything. Or you might say, I don't know what to try, and you feel stuck. And this mindset, unfortunately, comes with an abundance mindset, because in America, we have the privilege of choice. We have the freedom of choice. We have the option to make whatever choices we want. And that also has to do with marriage. There are people who are opting out of marriage. There are people who are choosing to leave marriages. There are people who are choosing to get married. But the point is that when you have so much privilege that you can make so many choices and there are so many options presented to you and you feel like you have so many options, it makes it harder to make a solid commitment and decision. And that's the problem with a lot of people when it comes to marriage in America, in the West, and unfortunately in the Black community. Have you heard, I can do bad all by myself? I've got an education. I can do this. I don't need to be married. I don't need a man. I don't need a man to tell me what to do. I don't have anything holding me back, blah, blah, blah. Those type of mindsets, unfortunately, are a detriment when you want to be in a lifelong serious commitment like marriage. Now, after you've done your vetting, after you've been courting, and you believe that you found the one that God has for you and you want to be married, you have to throw away all life rafts. You have to throw away every option. You have to delete anyone or anything that would be a potential option for you, because you have to forsake all else. You have to forsake. When you get married, in the vows it says forsake all others. Forsaking all others, meaning you don't have any more men in the friend zone. You don't have anybody on the side that you can call. You're not texting or putting ex-boyfriends and ex-relationships in your back pocket just in case it doesn't work out. You're also not going to rely on your career or your money or, your mom and your dad. The Bible says a man has to leave his mom and dad and cleave to his wife, and the wife is cleaving to her husband as well. Your two become one flesh. That is your husband. Your husband is your family. Your husband is your option. And so you really have to understand the way God made marriage. It is a soul lifelong commitment. And marriage on earth is supposed to be the representation, the earthly representation of God or Jesus, the groom, and his bride, the church. He says he will never leave us nor forsake us. Those who are in him, he will never leave us nor forsake us. He is always with us, even until the end of the age, right? And so he's made that promise, right? A lot of times we leave God, we go our own way, but God is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. If he said it, he will do it. If he promised it, it will surely come to pass, right? That's the word. And so over and over and over again, he's let us know that he will not go back on his word. He will not go back on his promises to us. Therefore, that is what marriage is supposed to be, the earthly representation of Jesus, the groom, and his bride, the church. And unfortunately, in the West, a lot of women, especially with radical feminism and all this stuff, a lot of women feel like they have so many options. They look at marriage. Some of them are looking at marriage. Some of you all may be looking at marriage as it's just an option. If I want to do it, I'll do it. But I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. Or, yes, I want to get married, but if it doesn't work out, then I can always fall back on my career. Or if it doesn't work out, I can always do this. I can always do that. I can always get a divorce. No fault divorce is one of the things that I think is detrimental to marriage, because it basically says irreconcilable differences. There's no reason for me to prove. I don't need to prove why I need a divorce. I just want a divorce. See, back before no fault divorce, America was such a strong socially conservative country that you could not just get a divorce just to get a divorce, especially when children were involved, because marriage, the institution of marriage, is really for children. And it's the best way. Social sciences say this, and they all agree. Every research data point has said this, and I've mentioned this so many times. Children raised in two-parent married households do better than children who are raised in households where mom and daddy are shacking up, or mom and dad are not married, or in single households. Period. The end. There is no debating the science or the research out there that's been out there for decades at this point. And so society at one point made it very hard for women and men to get divorces, because especially when children were involved, because they knew that was the best way for children to do well and thrive. But unfortunately, because we've become such a me, selfish culture, such a individualism culture, basically the individual is always right. The individual is always wins kind of culture, that we don't even care if there's children involved. It's so easy. It's become so easy because of no-fault divorce to just break up a marriage just because someone isn't happy, or just because someone feels the romance has died, or just because they feel like they have other options. And yeah, I tried marriage, but it wasn't for me. I think I can raise my kids on their own without help, or whatever the case may be, right? And now I know that I'm making it sound very convenient, divorce. And I've made a video about divorce too on this channel, so please go check it out, Black Women in Divorce. But Black women are the number one race of women in America that are more likely to be divorced. And that's unfortunate. And I do think that a lot of us just don't take marriage seriously. A lot of us didn't grow up in married homes, so we didn't see it. A lot of our music, entertainment, social media, reality shows, the things that we watch, the women on there are not taking marriage seriously. They're married today and they're not the next day. You know, it's just not a true thing that I believe a lot of Black women really know about and really have researched thoroughly and understand the importance of it, especially when you have children. And so what I'm saying is that when you feel like you have so many options, so many things to fall back on, you're not going to take marriage seriously. And so I want you to get rid of every option that you think that you have when it comes to marriage. If you know that God has called you to marriage, and you are serious about being married, and you are serious about raising your children in a married home, I want you to throw every option away. Even if you believe you have options, even if you have a good job, even if you have a good education, even if you have great family that will take you in no matter what. At the end of the day, you and your husband are one, and that is a lifelong commitment. You forsake all other men, you forsake all other options, you forsake all other opportunities outside of your marriage, and you say, I am in this for life. And if you cannot do that, and if you've never thought about that, I want you to start thinking about that. Are you someone that is like, yeah, I want to get married, but I also have this backup plan? Are you someone like, growing up, you hear a lot of women, older women say, women should have a stash, especially if you're going to be like a stay-at-home mom or something. Women should have a stash on the side. They should just keep some money on the side that their husbands don't know about, just in case. There's so many anti-marriage things out there that it's ridiculous. Or, women should have a job, never stop working, because if something happens with your husband, then you need to be able to have money to fall back on. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is another option. And if you are someone that grew up hearing that, or if you think that it's okay to have another account or to work a job because of fear, because that's what it is. You're inviting the spirit of fear in. You're allowing the fear of what may have happened to your grandmother or your mother or any other woman in your family, or anything that the feminist movement likes to propagandize about, women being trapped in marriage and not having, the ability to work or whatever, and their husbands being abusive. You're hearing that all your life in America as a woman. And so that is a spirit of fear that you're coming into agreement with. And you need to come out of agreement with that if that is something that you've heard and you start believing, and you may even advise other women to do that. You think that's a good idea, because it's not trust. You are saying, I don't trust my husband. I am not a good judge of character with my husband. I didn't choose the right man to lead me. Therefore, I have to be sneaky. And I know for a fact that if you found out that your husband had a secret account that he was storing money in somewhere, just in case it didn't work out, just in case he fell in love with somebody else, just in case you decided to walk away, because statistically, Actually, men would have more of an incentive to do that kind of stuff, have secret accounts and all that stuff, and put other women in the background than women, because women initiate more divorces than men. For the most part, if any married couple is getting divorced, it is most likely the woman who initiated the divorce. Okay, so if you ask me, men actually have more of an incentive to hide money, stash money, get their business in order behind the closed doors, because they have there's more of a probability that a woman would get the divorce. And so when you're hearing all of these stories about women saying, oh, all these sob stories about, oh, I got married and I didn't know anything, or I was too young, or, I was advised to stash money away and this and that, you're creating mistrust in your marriage. And if you're going all the way into mistrust into marriage, it's probably not going to last long. You're opening the door for mistrust. You're saying that I'm not a good judge of character, because again, I need a lot of women to understand this. And I've mentioned this before so many times, is that you're the one who chose your husband. We are not living in the days where marriages are forced and arranged, where your mom, your dad is forcing you to marry somebody twice your age, or someone you're not attracted to or interested in, or whatever. We don't live in that time. Western women have lots of freedoms. And so most marriages, a majority of marriages in America, are by choice. They are love marriages. They are marriages where we fell in love, the whole fairy tale, and we decided to make this commitment. So if you are already going to not trust your husband and have another option for money and have your job because you want to work just because you're afraid that he might leave you or cheat or whatever could happen, you're not a good judge of character. You should not marry this man. You should not marry anyone. You need to go get delivered. You need to go ask God why you have these feelings, because you're opening the door for a spirit of fear. And fear manifested is going to paralyze you. It's not going to do nothing to help your marriage. You're not going to be all in. You're not going to give your all. You're always going to be suspicious. Okay, you're always going to think of other options and a way out. So please be careful with these mindsets. These are the mindsets that are destroying marriages in America all the time. You willfully got married. No one forced you to get married. And so when you're saying that I have to stash money on the side, or I have to work because I don't know what could happen in my marriage, you're saying you're a bad judge of character. And yes, not everybody makes the right decisions when it comes to who they marry, who they are in love with, who they are pursuing in a marriage or whatever. But this is why I say it's important to vet. And vetting means really getting to the chance to know this person. Not having sex before marriage, not kissing before marriage, not doing anything before hanging out by yourself and getting yourself in tempting situations, not doing anything that's going to open up the gates for oxytocin, because that's going to bond you to someone that you may not need to bond with if you're not going to be married to that person. Rose-colored glasses. It'll make you see things in that person that's not real, or believe things that's not real. And that's why you need to understand what courting is. You need to introduce your potential husband to your family, to your pastor, to your church leadership, to the people that love you and care for you, to your friends that are not going to just, go along with whatever you want, or just going to just say stuff just to make you feel good. You need to make sure you get to know someone. It's good to have butterflies. It's good to have a crush, but it's also best to study and know and research this person. Who is this person that I'm interested in, or that's interested in me? Who is this person that I may marry? Take it seriously, and not just like, a hookup or some fun, this courting experience. No, it's serious. Courting, I said this before in another video, courting is dating to marry. Dating is fun, hookup. We're just going to see where it goes. No end in sight. Or maybe an end in sight. Courting is we're getting to know each other specifically for marriage. And once you change your mindset to I'm going to be courted and I'm courting, things will go better for you. Remember, everything is a mindset. The way you go into anything and approach anything, you're going to have better outcomes for the most part. And so what I'm telling you right now, let all your options go. If you know that God has called you to be married and you want to be married, you cannot come in with any options. The more options you have, the less likely you're going to commit to this marriage. And as soon as things get hard, you're going to go run to your option. You're going to run. This is why so many people involve their family in their marriage, and then their family get involved and their marriage either, splits apart, or there's so many issues in that marriage. The Bible says you leave and cleave. A man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife. The wife is also cleaving to her husband, because her husband is now her family and her authority and her covering and who she submits to and respects. And a wife is who the husband covers, respects, loves, serves, all of that. So that is the family. A husband shouldn't be running off asking his family anything about y'all, and you shouldn't be telling all your family all your business, especially if you know you come from a messy family or a family that never did marriage right. They don't have nothing to tell you about your marriage. None of them are married. None of their marriages worked. If they were married and they're not working, if they're divorced, or if it's tumultuous, we all know how our families are, right or wrong. Some come from great families, some don't. And this is why it's bad. That's an option though. People feel like their family is an option. Some people who literally feel like, oh, I'm married, but also my extended family is still my immediate family. No, your husband is your immediate family. He is your family at that point. The children you have, that's your family. That's your first ministry. That's who you take care of. That's who you care about. No one else. So you don't have to always run to your family and tell them all the issues you have. Because then once everything works out between you and your husband, your mom, your dad, your cousin, brother, whoever know all the business that you poured out and spilled out, they're still upset with your husband. There's all this strife. Once we understand what marriage is about, the covenant of marriage, how it's supposed to represent Christ and his church, then we will have the right mindset for it. And Christ says there's no other gods before me. This is why idol worship is forbidden in Christianity. This is why God said, you can't worship me and money. It's either me or the money. It's either me or fornication. It's either me or whatever. You can't put no other gods before me. He is singular about his relationship with you. And that's why it is a representation. Christ and his relationship with the church is an earthly representation of that is marriage. There's no one else but your husband and no one else but the wife for the husband. So you don't involve other people in your business. You work it out with your man. You work it out with your husband specifically. So stop with all these options. HBO, radical feminism, Cardi B, all these people, these social media girls, all these people will make you think that you don't have to really commit in marriage. You got an education. You don't have to listen to him. He don't have to tell you what to do. I'm not saying, please understand, I'm not saying if there's abuse, if there's unrepented adultery, I'm not saying that those are reasons to stay in a marriage. But let's be real. Statistically, a majority of Americans are not getting divorced because of infidelity. The number one reason is lack of commitment, meaning irreconcilable differences. We just don't feel like we were committed enough in this marriage. But when you look at the stats, it's not saying lack of commitment means adultery. So a lot of it is, oh, I'm not happy. Don't allow media to fool you, and let's do some research on our own to figure out what is happening, why people are getting divorced. Don't allow your children to grow up in a home where they didn't have married parents. Let's do vetting first. Let's remember that we have no other options. It's this man forever. It's this marriage forever. And once we get back to that, we'll be better. See, feminism wants to let you know, oh, the women in the past, they were so unhappy. They had no money. They had no jobs. They had no education. They had nothing. They had to listen to their husband. They had to put up with abuse and all kinds of stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've looked. I haven't seen any research that suggested that a majority of women in the 50s and 60s and back in the days where there were married families put together were getting abused. Where are they making these claims from? Because I don't see stats to prove this stuff. When people are making claims to propagandize you, you have to look and see if this is real. You have to look things up. Because that type of propaganda has destroyed families for decades. Get rid of every option. If you feel like you have something to fall back on and you're not going to commit completely to a man or to a marriage or you're not going to put all your trust in it or anything, then you're not ready for marriage. And that mindset is going to destroy any potential man or marriage you get in. It's going to destroy you and the children you potentially can bring into this world because they need stability. So do your research to figure out where the fear comes from that you can't fully commit and you feel like you have to have all these backup plans and options and all this stuff. God bless you.